Sometimes you look at an animal and think, no, that cannot be real. It feels like nature opened a character editor and started creating creatures without following the rules. Some animals look like myths. Some look like ancient monsters that somehow still live beside us. And some feel like they accidentally arrived on Earth from another world. But the strangest part is they are not fictional, not movie creatures, not concept art. They are real. In this video, we're going to look at animals that are almost hard to believe at first. Not just rare animals, not just beautiful animals, but creatures that make you stop for a second and think, wait, this actually lives on our planet?
Let's start with an animal that sounds almost like a mistake in the calendar. The Greenland shark. At first, it looks like a large, slow, dark shark from the cold northern waters. Nothing too strange, just a shark. But then you learn one detail, and everything changes. Some Greenland sharks can live for several hundred years. Several hundred years. Scientists estimate that some of them are at least 250 years old, and possibly more than 500 years old. That means somewhere in the dark Arctic water, there could be a shark that was already alive before many modern countries even existed. Humans built cities, changed maps, invented electricity, created cars, launched rockets into space. And this shark was just slowly moving under the ice. That is what makes it so unreal. It does not feel like an animal that is in a hurry. It grows slowly, moves slowly, lives in cold, darkness, and depth. Almost as if its life does not move in human time, but in something older, slower, deeper. The Greenland shark is considered one of the longest living vertebrate animals on Earth. That means among animals with backbones, fish, birds, reptiles, mammals, this shark may be one of the greatest champions of time. Imagine that. Somewhere in the Arctic, there may be an animal older than skyscrapers, older than cars, older than electricity in ordinary homes. Just a huge shadow in freezing water. Not a monster from a movie. Not an old sailor's legend. A real shark. And after learning that, it becomes very hard to believe that we truly understand the ocean. Now, let's get out of the icy darkness of the Arctic, because if we stay under the ice for another few minutes, I might start freezing too. So now we completely change the atmosphere. No cold, no deep dark water, no silence under the ice. Now we move to sunlight, dry islands, heat, and a creature that looks like dinosaurs disappeared but forgot to take one of their relatives with them. We are going to Indonesia, to Komodo. On the islands of Komodo National Park, there are animals that people did not call dragons by accident. The Komodo dragon. And yes, I know, it sounds like a beautiful name for tourists. A dragon, an island, something exotic. But then you see it. And suddenly, the name does not feel dramatic anymore. It feels accurate. The Komodo dragon is the largest living lizard on Earth. It can grow almost 3 meters long. 3 full meters. This is not a tiny lizard sitting on a rock. This is a predator the size of a small crocodile, walking calmly across an island, flicking its forked tongue, as if it already knows who owns the place. It has powerful legs, sharp claws, strong jaws, and a bite that can make escape very difficult. But the strangest part is not even how dangerous it is. The strangest part is how it looks. It does not look modern. It does not look like an animal that should live in the same world as smartphones, airports, and shopping malls. It looks like a creature from another time, as if a piece of ancient Earth stayed alive on a few dry islands in Indonesia. And animals like this are not found everywhere. Komodo dragons live only in this region, on several islands in Indonesia. So these are not dragons from legends. They are real animals, living right now. They walk across dry ground, rest under the sun, hunt in the heat, and live in their own strange world, where humans are not the main characters. From above, Komodo looks like paradise. Blue water, beaches, sunlight. But when you come down to the ground, dragons are still real. So, we have seen a shark that can live for centuries, and an island where real dragons still exist. But if Earth has real dragons, then somewhere it should probably have a real unicorn too, right? But not in a forest, not in a fairy tale kingdom, and not in a field full of flowers. To find this one, we have to go back north. Back to the ice. Back to the cold water. Back to a world where humans are only visitors. Because somewhere in the Arctic, there is an animal that looks like it was created for a legend. But it is not a legend. It is real. The narwhal. The narwhal is often called the unicorn of the sea. And honestly, it is hard to find a better name. It is a whale, a real Arctic whale. But from its head, there is a long, spiral tusk, sometimes almost 3 meters long. So imagine this, a whale moving under the Arctic ice with a giant horn, like a mythical creature. And this is not Photoshop, not an old drawing, not some sailor getting creative after too much time at sea. This is a real animal. And the strange thing is, that horn is actually a tooth. One long tooth that grows through the upper lip and twists into a spiral. Nature basically looked at a whale and thought, what if we give it a sword on its face? Scientists believe this tusk may help narwhals sense the world around them. The water, the temperature, the salt. And it may also play a role in how males communicate or compete. But even if you forget all the science for a second, the animal itself already feels impossible. White ice, dark blue water, a gray whale body, and one long spiral tusk cutting through the Arctic silence. The beautiful thing is, the narwhal does not feel like a monster. It does not feel like a threat. It feels like a legend that somehow decided to stay alive. And seeing one is not easy. Not because there are only a few left, but because narwhals live in places where humans do not usually belong. Far north, cold water, ice, remote Arctic roots. This is not an animal you simply find on a beach tour. You need the north. You need cold. You need a boat. You need patience. And you need luck. Because somewhere under the Arctic ice, the sea unicorn is real. And once you know that, it becomes a little harder to say that Earth has no magic left. Now we leave the Arctic again. But this time, we are not going to a giant predator, not to a dragon, not to a whale with a tusk. We are going to something much smaller, much softer, and honestly, almost too cute for how strange it is. From the ice of the north, we move to the waters of Mexico to meet an animal that looks like it never finished growing up. This is the axolotl, and at first, it does not look like something from real life. It looks like a tiny water dragon, or a Pokemon, or a smiling alien that somehow ended up in a lake. It has soft, feathery gills on the sides of its head, tiny black eyes, a wide little face, and this strange expression, like it knows something we do not. But the axolotl is not just cute. It is genuinely one of the strangest animals on Earth. Most salamanders grow up, leave the water, and become land animals. But axolotls are different. They keep their young features for their entire lives. They stay underwater, they keep their gills, and they live as adults while still looking like they never fully grew up.
And then comes the part that sounds almost impossible. Axolotls can regenerate parts of their bodies, not just heal a small cut. They can regrow limbs, parts of their heart, parts of their spinal cord, even parts of their brain. That is not cartoon logic. That is real biology. A small, soft-looking creature from Mexico with one of the most unbelievable healing abilities in the animal kingdom. But there is a sad twist. In the wild, axolotls are now extremely rare. Their natural home is connected to the canals and lakes around Mexico City, a place that has changed dramatically because of people. So this little smiling creature that looks almost impossible is also fighting to stay alive. It feels cute. It looks harmless. But behind that face, there is one of the strangest survival stories on Earth.